As I see it, there's three main things you got to look out for on earnings. First is provision for credit losses. As we know, Klarna is even being sued for provision for credit losses, getting out of hand apparently. We all know that the provisions for credit losses are caused by fair financing, and this is the main problem that we see. This higher margin area in the long term, which is going to cause credit losses to balloon right now as fair financing. The first month, you're going to realize all those credit losses, and then you're actually going to get the incomes later down the line as the interest compounds. What you have to understand is that these three metrics right here, processing and servicing, provisioning for credit losses, and funding costs, after subtracting from revenue, make up transaction margin dollars. And this is their version of gross profit. And it's also important to understand that gross margin has trended down recently because of provision for credit losses ballooning from the fair financing sector, but this is expected to uplift later into 2026, and I think it's a good move by Klarna. They're kind of moving towards what Affirm is doing with that idea of becoming more of a lender rather than a transactions business, which we've seen a lot of struggle with. A lot of transaction businesses have been struggling recently. So provision for credit loss is that first thing. The second one is that transaction margin dollars. We have an outlook of around 400 million. I imagine the market wants to see up closer to that 400 million mark in the transaction margin dollars. Transaction margin dollars are really the most important thing for Klarna because they allow us to understand how Klarna is performing based on their most important costs. What's also important to understand is that we have these OPEX costs, and Klarna has actually been able to decrease OPEX costs as percentage of revenue over the last 3 years. It was making up at 86% of revenue in 2022, and then into 2025, that's trending down to more like 45%. And if they're able to bring that down to like 40%, 38%, the amount of profitability that they can have is really intense. And as we know, they have that AI workforce, and that's really strong for them and is actually making them very efficient right now. Last thing that you have to understand is that we have to have strong guidance for the next year. There's actually a sentiment that Klarna is going to become profitable within 2026, and if they don't provide guidance that they will be profitable, then the market's going to react very negatively. But what you really want to be looking at are these transaction margin dollars. If transaction margin dollars are trending up, that means that fair financing is working, and that means fair financing is going to allow Klarna to become more of a lender rather than a transactions business. And I believe Klarna in the long run should be able to fix their OPEX problems, because if transaction margin dollars are looking good, that just means OPEX is not looking good. They are focusing more on the AI workforce, and I think they could provide a lot of opportunities for them into the future. If you want to see more stuff that I've put out, you can click right here, and if you want to subscribe and see more in the future, then you can click right here.